Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. And for all you new people out there that haven't been here before, don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate it, and it's free. Today, we're going to work on this little McLane edger. Now, when I first looked at it, I thought to myself, wow, that thing's brand new. And then I looked at it a little bit closer and said, wow, that thing's 25 years old. It's been sitting in a warehouse for 19, maybe 20 years. Imagine, 19 years somebody owned this thing and didn't use it. They put it in a warehouse and forgot about it. And it was even air conditioned. So it's in really good shape. The only thing they did wrong was it had gas in it when they put it away. I got to look at the carburetor already, and it is just flat locked up with old gas. It's that thick all the way across the inside of the carburetor. So we're going to go ahead and pull this carburetor off, and we're not even going to try to rebuild it. We're going to put a new carburetor on it. And they're not cheap for these machines, but if you look at it, it's a beautiful machine. It's worth saving. So let's get to work. Let's put you there. Let's make you a star. There you go. Let's get all the other camera set up. Ooh, we're going to do an underneath shot. Woohoo. Gratuitous under edger work. Right about there. It looks funny, but that should work. Okay, let's get to work on this bad boy. First thing we'll do is pull the air cleaner off. There we go. Now, I always use a magnet when I'm doing a job this big, right here, to hold all the bolts, because you're going to end up with a whole handful of screws when you take the carburetor off of one of these. And you don't want to spend the next 2 hours looking for that one last screw. Another nice part about using a magnet is when you have all the screws on the magnet, and you know there's nothing on the magnet when you start, when you end it should be empty too. So there we go. Let's see what we've got. Okay, I don't think the muffler will be in the way for this one, since we're taking this whole unit off. We're going to have a whole lot of springs to worry about. And remember, take that picture. Take that picture before you start, because it's not going to be obvious when you're putting it back together. Now I'm looking now to decide if I want to drop the gas tank, because this gas tank will just fall straight down, and it might make it easier to get to the rest of the carburetor. Yeah, I do. I think we're going to drop the gas tank on this one. See, you never want to try to force anything. Now it's got a little bit of gas in the tank, because the guy that had this told me he tried to get it running. Just set the tank over here. Now let's see if we can get to that last screw that holds the carburetor on. You can see the last screw, but it's a mile underneath everything. So we're going to do this. I'm going to get really, really long and see if we can reach it like this. And there you go. And she's loose. I'll pop the linkage off and pop the springs off. And she's out of there. Now, because it's been sitting for a long time, we're going to clean the gas tank. We haven't looked inside there yet. And I hope you took pictures when you're up to this part, because this will not be easy to put back together if you haven't. A little kill wire just plugs in like that. There we go. And we've got a carburetor. Can you see that? Yes, you can. And just like before, being very gentle. And we're making notes of how the linkage sits on this. So let's pull this one screw off. It's very likely. One thing I do like about working on McLane's is you need very few tools because they use the same screws over and over again. Now let's pull you off. That's a beautiful thing. Come on, buddy. And there we have it. And you gotta love working on something where dust is your main enemy. Okay, now that we've had a chance to clean everything up and get everything ready to go, let's go ahead and put the carburetor on. And the bolts that hold the carburetor on are Torx 30s. You don't get to use those very often. We're going to start them with a hand screwdriver, just because they're hard to get to. I don't want to change the threads. I don't want to reinvent the threads as we go. Okay, you stay there. Whoops. Let's find the other one and get her started. La la la. There we go. I always love it when a carburetor wants to go together. There's one. And where's the other one at? Getting around all the obstacles to get to the other one is half the battle here. Let me come around the other side and see if I can get a look at it from here. I'm going to scoot you over just a little bit. There you go. She's not going anywhere for the next 25 years. Let me get you back in place, and we're going to go ahead and put the gas tank back on together. You got a gasket lined up. I got one screw in it. I might have to put two screws in to hold the gasket still. Take our tank and use care with your pickup tube, because it goes in one way. There you go. Now I'm watching the pin on the other side. It isn't quite as easy to do with all the cameras in the way. There she goes. And she's on. Now let's get one screw going, just to hold her still. And once you get the one screw threaded down, it gets a whole lot easier. It gets a whole lot easier. And you want to be very careful of that pickup tube while you're doing this, because they're threaded in, but you can knock it off. And if you do, it'll become a long day. And don't forget, you've got one hidden under the linkage here. Notice we're not tightening anything all the way down yet, because sometimes you'll wiggle the gasket around and make it very difficult to finish it. And we'll get the one more screw in. linkage set. You got this one bar that it's easy to forget where it even went, but it goes into your choke. You got your little electrical line. This is your cutoff for when you've got the throttle turned all the way down, it turns the motor off by grounding the ignition. There you go, buddy. Okay, looking good, looking good. And this will all go right here. So let's go ahead and pull our one screw off. I know I didn't necessarily have to put it in yet, but I like to do it that way because that way I'm guaranteed that my carburetor's on square. There we go. Let's find the little screw that goes on that. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that later. We've got our clutch hooked up. I'm sorry, our choke. That looks good. Let's go ahead and get our spring hooked back on. Come on, spring. This little spring. I know I say this a lot, but if you took pictures, you know this little spring goes right here. You also know it doesn't want to go there. That's just where it goes. Just like that. That's a beautiful thing. Okay. Next up is our throttle control. Arg. Come on, buddy. That'd be easier over here. There we go. And that's it. Now we put that screw back on, which I can't easily get to at that angle. So we're going to grab our little 5/16 wrench to do that one. Now you can adjust this back and forth to make sure your linkage is set up working correctly. We'll do that once we've got her back on the ground. Okay, and the only screws we've got left, we've got the PCV tube. Let's go ahead and do her. Beautiful. Looking good, looking good, looking good. Which, typical enough, you have to have the throttle in a very specific position to get to it. And since we've got a new gasket, we're probably going to have to punch through it. Let's see what we've got. We're almost there. Looking good, looking good. Now our throttle should work correctly. And it does. And our choke works correctly. Looking good. She's ready to test. Okay, let's put the air filter back on and see what we've got. Now I've noticed with these old Briggs motors, they like having an air filter on them. If you try to run it without one, they're a little bit complaining when they're cold. And I haven't run this one yet, but judging by the condition of the engine and the fact that she's got a shiny new carburetor on it, I'm expecting this thing to run like brand new. Suppose we'll find out in a minute here, won't we? Off the camera, I looked inside the engine with the fluoroscope, And the piston looked really nice. It looked shiny new. That was one where I didn't bother to show it because there wasn't much to see. Everything looks nice. Okay, that's that. Let's throw our air cleaner on. Our air filter, rather. Let's sew you on like that. You'll like that better. Okay. I think she's ready to run. Let's give it medium fast throttle. Let's choke her up. That's choke, right? Yeah. Let's see what she's got. Oh, almost. Let's turn the choke off. Oh, I love it. Oh, it looks like the blade's loose on it. That's okay, we can fix that. I'm going to go ahead and put a new blade on it anyway. 19 years. That edger sat in a warehouse for 19 years untouched. And it looks like they drained almost all of the gas out of it, and the gas in the bottom was easy to clean up. I'm thinking that the last time this was filled up, it was filled up with ethanol-free gas because there was no rust inside the tank whatsoever. Now at the bottom, there was just mud. It was caked up pretty thick and it was varnished on, but a little bit of carb cleaner shined it right up. Inside the carburetor, when I took the side panel off, and I took the metering diaphragm off, and I looked at it and said, nope, this one's done, because it was a hard layer of varnish on head to toe. Well, I appreciate y'all watching, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time.